Hey everyone, got footage from the last Wednesday night track race of the year that I made it out to. This is from middle of September. I think these come back in April. I'm already excited for them to come back. So first up on this night, we had an elimination race. You see guys hitting it really hard early, which is not normal for most of these elimination races. But the field is pretty big, like 20 guys, so I guess some motivation to keep it fast. And also, usually we have an A, B, C field at these races, and A is 1, 2, 3, and B is like 3, 4. But this week, the A race was only 1, 2. So all the fast threes got booted to the B race. So there's a couple of guys who made this race wicked fast. Not just the elimination, they're racing all night, which changed the dynamic a lot. Those two basically went 1, 2 in every race, and then the rest of us were fighting for the last omnium spot. And so that started from the beginning of the elimination race. You saw him with a first attack, and now the field comes back together a little bit, and that's not the last attack we'll see from him. There's going to be more attacking. Field's swelling pretty big here. I think we're just getting the first couple of people pulled, but there's a lot of people on the track. It ended up being like, I think 9 or 10 minutes for the whole elimination race, just because there were so many people to get it down to the last couple. So here's the attack that I think splits the field up. Like 3 guys go up the track, up the road, I don't know what you say, in a breakaway. Yeah, you see 3 of them up there. And at that point, it just becomes this big chase group, and I mostly try to surf wheels through it. Try to come around guys who look like they're peeling off, but not that close to the back, really, because it's so like strung out in single file, so I don't have to worry about the elimination part even right now. I just don't want to get on the wrong side of a gap and then not even have a chance to like stay with the race. So still following. I finally get to the front here, take some pulls, trying to slot back in and not go too far back. We're starting to have dropped most of the people, so now we have to start thinking like it's an elimination race again, rather than just it's chasing. So I think there's still a break of 3. This guy tried to chase it maybe, and now he's coming back into the mix. And the guy in bright green just sent a little move there, and there's maybe 3 more of us back here. I think the guy who just came back is the one who gets eliminated. So when there's another, we'll see that in a couple laps, another guy coming back from the move. And at that point, you know they're probably not going to have much in the way of legs, so it's pretty easy to get past them. Yep, here's another guy coming back. Yeah, so he was in the break of 3. It's now just a break of 2. And it's the guy who's on the inside there. And I think we all slide past him. And so now at this point, there's the 2 up the road, and then I believe there's 3 in our group. And so I like this spot. Got one of them behind me and one of them in front of me. I'm just going to wait here. Elimination's kind of a bunch of tiny sprints, so waiting till the end of the lap. The last person at the end of every lap gets pulled, so you don't have to be on the front, until the last lap. It's okay to sit on wheels and not work as hard. And so keep somebody behind me, so we're good. But I think I know on this next lap I got to go, and I'm going to start to go around him here. We've got 3/4 of a lap left maybe when I hit the front, which I like that. I'm not one to like come around somebody in this last little straightaway section. That's not like enough room for me usually, because I just don't have that peak power. But stave off elimination there. I think we're down to 4 people on the track. There's me and one guy that I'm next to, and the 2 guys up the road. So we're already in the points, which I like. See, I get out of the saddle and commit to a sprint here, but this other guy is going to come by me on my right. I knew when I started sprinting, it looked like he was a lot fresher than me, and sure enough, he was. So pulled 4th place in this one, which is 2 omnium points, I guess. So I was just happy to be on the board. Elimination races have gone really poorly for me so far this summer. Like usually I'm the first or second person out. So that was a massive improvement, feeling way more confident about elimination races. Second event is a snowball race, which means after we come through the first time, the next lap is worth 1 point, following lap's worth 2, next one's worth 3, and it keeps going up until you get to the finish. And on the finish, I think second and third get some points as well. But you see, same animators stringing it out at the start. My strategy on this one was if I could take an easy lap in the beginning, I would go for it, because having points on the board is better than having nothing on the board. You know, sometimes like a break goes and like 2 guys get all the points, which happens in this race. So just having points can be a good thing, even if like, you know, maybe you only win a 2 or 3 point lap. So that's what I do here. I had some momentum. They were pulling off, so I go to the front. And my plan is to just get 1 lap. I think it's only worth 2 points at this point. But I just wanted to have my name on the scoreboard in case something happened and I missed a move or something like that. Even though like all the subsequent laps are going to be worth way more points than this one, it's good to have something just in case, I think. So I got that 1, and then I looked back and I had a little bit of a gap, but I wasn't really interested in pursuing that. So I sat up a little bit, and the field is going to come back to me on the backside here. And this was the mistake I made, really, is I should have gotten on, like, back on the pedals a lot harder here. I let a lot of people come past me, basically the whole field, and I ended up getting myself dropped off the back when, like, I felt like I still had the legs to keep competing, which is a bummer. But kind of fun thing with track races is the first person across the line at the end of the race does not always win the race. So on this one, even though I got dropped off the back after 3 laps or 4 laps, I still finished 5th, which was another omnium point. So that was sweet. So this is the closest I'm going to be to the field for the rest of the race. A break went up the road, and like 2 guys soaked up all the points, and so my points were good for 5th. So the same 2 guys went 1-2 in both of the first 2 events. So 3rd place on the omnium was actually wide open, and nobody had more than 3 points. So there was 3 of us, including myself, all tied on 3 points coming into the last event, which was a points race. And so I just wanted to score some points so that I could get ahead of those other guys I was tied with, because I figured whichever one of us could score some points would take the omnium. And so points race is like a sprint every 6 laps or something, and then a sprint at the end that's worth a few points. If you lap the field, you get points, but this track is pretty long, 300 something meters, so I haven't seen it happen yet in the summer races. And this race was kind of disappointing, really disappointing watching the video back. I was on the wrong side of a gap that opened and never really got the chance to race, which was like, it's my own fault. I shouldn't have sat that far back, but it's definitely a bummer, especially when like had raced pretty consistently all night. And, you know, I got through the elimination, which had been giving me issues all summer, and I thought a points race wouldn't be that tricky to get through, and I was just caught napping. And so you see that gap that's opened, and then another gap that's opening amongst this group that got split off, and it just doesn't quite ever come back. So this chase gets really close. We almost tag onto the back, but like right when we were about to tag up with the group, there was a sprint, so the group accelerated, and then the gap opened back up, and we never made it on. So I didn't score any points in the points race. But funny enough, all of us who were tied on 3 points, none of us scored a single point in the points race, and so somebody else got 3 points for getting 3rd in the points race, and there was 4 of us tied on 3 points for 3rd place. And I think the tie went to the last event results, so didn't get the 3rd place. But felt pretty good in the first 2 races, especially. I mean, I still felt strong in this race. I just like was on the wrong side of that gap and didn't really get to use my matches. You can see how close the field is sitting, and we get so close to the back of them, but just not quite. But anyways, I'm excited for these to come back already. The track racing was a lot of fun, and I feel like I've learned a lot so far this year, so stoked to put it to good use again next season.